All right. Good morning, everybody. Welcome to the SSIS Coffee Talk this morning on this beautiful sunny day in Minnesota. We will get started in just a minute to give people a minute or two to hop on. And thanks for being with us today. All right. Good morning, everybody. My name is Cynthia Shepolsky, and welcome to the SSIS Coffee Talk. We're going to go ahead and get started. Um, Thanks so much for joining us today. And we are just gonna, we have a quick agenda. As you guys know, our topic today is focusing on some questions that we've received from folks. So we're gonna be going through those things. So welcome to everybody. And couple of things. First, announcement. We want to start off with talking a little bit about kind of the most important thing that's going to be coming up for us, which is our next release, our 23.2 release. We are going to start piloting April 26th, and that's going to run through May 24th. And as always, we're looking for 3 pilot agencies and want to highlight some of the changes. We have a significant number of changes that are related to permanency. That includes a new removal reason, updated removal reason, some updates to Safe Place for Newborns, and changes on the continuous placement screen regarding siblings. And so we're really excited about this. We also have a lot of other fixes. I think we have about 205 when I checked this morning, other changes and updates this morning, and that have already been completed that are ready to go. As we're looking for pilot agencies, we really think that this is a great opportunity to partner with folks and get out and see folks at the agency and kind of work with you guys and come out and provide any kind of support that might be helpful. And so I'd like to pass the baton over to Cassie and to have share a little bit about piloting from an agency perspective. Cassie?
Morning, everybody. I just wanted to give a few words about piloting. I think maybe people don't really understand what piloting is all about. When I worked in the county, I worked for Freeborn County, as I shared last coffee talk. We did a lot of pilots, and we actually really liked them, even though it seems like it could be kind of daunting. I just wanted to share what our experience was. Normally, the pilots run just a few weeks long, and you meet once a week, and they're relatively short meetings. If things are going well, our meetings lasted 5-10 minutes, so it wasn't super intrusive on our days. And we really got to get to know people from the help desk. We worked a lot with Dave and Janelle from Tier 2, and there are all sorts of other people on the calls. We got a checklist of things that they wanted us to go over, and it is things all over in SSIS, and it's things that you normally do during your day. So it wasn't super intrusive. We got to work like we normally do, and as we did things like entering placements or doing essays or running reports, we got to check them off the list if they were working right. A lot of times they'll ask us to test specific things, specifically related to the release that's coming out. Um, and we found that it was really good to have both new and very experienced workers. Experienced workers are really used to how things always work. And so they find when things don't work properly. And the new workers a lot of times question things that we kind of overlook when we're used to them kind of just not working and we just go with it. So really, I just wanted everybody to know that it's not as intrusive or as scary as it sounds. When you do pilot, it's not an early testing stage. Like this is really well developed and it's the last stages of testing. So everything should be working and it's not meant to be something where you're going to deal with all these broken things. You're really going to be able to work within your pilot, I don't know, platform. But yeah, that's all I had.
All right. Thank you so much, Cassie. We really appreciate you sharing your experience. All right. So, just a few housekeeping issues we want to go through this morning. Everybody has been muted when they entered the meeting this morning. If you'd like to speak, please raise your hand at the bottom of the screen and you can be unmuted. We may have some questions and would really like to hear from you guys this morning. You can also submit questions using the chat feature, and we are monitoring that. Closed captioning is available. There is a CC button located just, oh, excuse me, my screen just went a little bit crazy. Closed captioning can be enabled using the CC button on the bottom left part of your screen. This session is being recorded and it will be posted to the Minnesota Child Welfare Training Academy website in the near future. We also do have the slides and that information that we will be sharing out with folks. And that should be distributed 7 to 10 days following today for any follow-up that we have. All right, so now I'm sharing the tennis warning that you folks have seen before, familiar with, that we're collecting images and voice on this meeting, and in accordance with data practices, here is our Tennyson warning information. All right, so now this morning we're going to get started, and we have received various questions from folks across the state, and so we're going to be addressing those questions. And the folks are different folks from our from DHS and Minute are going to be answering these questions this morning. So they will just introduce themselves, say who they are, and answer these questions. If you do have any questions, please go ahead and put those in the chat, and I'm going to pass the baton. I think this is Tina.
Hi, this is Tina First. I am one of the QA people. So I do the initial testing for all the work that you get in SSIS. So I was asked to answer a question about the editor, and so this editor is usually found like in case notes. I think is probably the most common place people would see this. The question is about spell check. Why isn't spell check automatic when the editor is open, yet when it is closed, there's typos, misspelled words are identified? So actually, this is referring to something called autocorrect. And when you're in SSIS, you turn that on in the file menu. Now, the editor is actually something what we would call like a separate component that exists within SSIS. So it has its own spell checker, but it does not have an autocorrect. That is something that has been a long-term thing. It existed in the previous version that we had of this editor. It was one of the first things I asked about when I started at the state 12 years ago. Yes, in fact, it has been 12 years. Who knew? So now that we have replaced it, though, it has occurred to me that we could request an enhancement and see if we could get I guess I call it the red squiggle line. See if we can get that to, or some kind of autocorrect to show up in the expanded editor. I hope that appropriately answered the question. Was there more on that, or do you want to move on to the next one?
I think that was it. Unless
Okay.
anyone has any more questions about the editor, now's your chance before Tina takes off. Thanks, Tina. And I think I have this next one, the spell check autocorrect. So and this is Marsha, Marsha Riss with SSIS Biz Ops. And so another question that came in recently was the dictionary spell check does not have commonly used medications. And so they say basic pharmacology terms added would be helpful. So essentially, I checked into this to see, are there, is there a specific dictionary really that's used, right, with SSIS? And the dictionary is a standard US English dictionary, which it won't have all of the pharmacology terms like somebody had asked about. So ultimately, individual workers that use specialty terms, whether it be pharmacology or other types of terms, can add those to their dictionary. So I just added a screenshot here, and there's a job aid for this as well, to look at spell check and autocorrect options. But the screen is, if you click on file and choose spelling options, here's where you'll get that spelling options screen, which you see up there. And there's that edit custom dictionary where you can add, um, additional language. So whether it be acronyms or names or things that you're using commonly that maybe you're annoyed when you get the red squiggly, this is where you can make those changes. So you can come in here and change that. The spell check and autocorrect options job aid is still available and relevant. So I know it looks like it's old, but I looked through it. It's still all accurate. And it can be found on the SSIS worker documentation page under the general section heading. Any questions about spell check or autocorrect? All right. Oh, I think I see a question. So is this stored in a Word file we could share with agency? Deb, are you referring to the job aid, or I'm not really sure what. So you can share the job aid with agency if that's what you're asking. And that is on the SSIS worker documentation page. Oh, the dictionary. So the dictionary is just it's what SSIS is using. So I don't think there's like a Word document of the dictionary. So if they're coming across words that they want to add, they, that are being underlined, they can come in and add them. But there's not a Word document of the dictionary that SSIS, I think it's just a standard US English dictionary, is my understanding. It's not something SSIS created.
So maybe the question is, if we have in an agency, if we have, say, 25 things that we use really commonly, is there a way for us for in that agency to create one document that then folks could share with each other? And Tina shared that you can, copy and paste and share that with each other to enter into your each worker's custom dictionary.
Yeah, that's a really good idea. So like Tina was saying, so you could literally, it's when you click on that edit, it's just an empty screen. So it allows you to just like add a word, enter, add another word, enter, add another word. So yeah, you could just copy and paste a list of words and that would work.
And that might be particularly nice with things like certain names or, whatever I know at the county I worked at, we utilize that for abbreviations of common county things. So it's a great question.
Great. Thanks, Tina.
Okay, this is Sam. We had this question come in about work groups. Will there ever be a better way to transition a child services work group into adult services? Workers wish they didn't have to create a whole new work group, for example, in CADI, because nothing has really changed except for the age of the client. Yes, and this is especially true with waiver cases, and we're aware of that. So there is a project right now for anyone who doesn't know called the Waiver Reimagine Project. And this is the name of the ongoing work that DHS is doing to make system level improvements to Minnesota's 4 disability waiver programs. And those are DD, BI, CAC, and CADI. So Waiver Reimagine will be implemented on a rolling basis in January of 2026. There are several changes to the disability waivers and changes to the SSIS work groups that are expected as an outcome of this project. The initial work has begun, and the Waiver Reimagine Advisory Committee continues to take considerations from interested parties as this planning for SSIS begins. And on this slide, we've included several different links. The link to the Waiver Reimagine website is included on the slide on the first section in the paragraph of the answer. And they have different ways that you can get in touch to get involved, provide feedback to them, and they do want to hear from people on the work group part of this as well for SSIS work. So you can, provide input to the Waiver Reimagine Advisory Committee. The webpage is regularly updated with all their latest information on the project, including their past meetings. And to provide feedback to the group, interested parties are asked to submit a DSD contact form. You can attend a stakeholder event, or you can join the virtual insight panel. So we have all of those things kind of going on now. And while it's a couple years out, all that work is starting to be planned right now. If you have any input on the work group setup of that or anything else regarding the disability waivers. Does anyone else have any questions on the Waiver Reimagine project or those work group changes?
All right, thanks, Sam. So another question that came in had to do with child protection and law enforcement emails out of SSIS. So it says, when we email law enforcement, a CP report, or I suppose that's the child maltreatment report information, we get a brief message that says message sent. However, we have no verification that it went through as nothing shows up in our email. So some law enforcement will send back the read receipt, others do not. If we send the email, if we sent and the email somehow was not correct, we would have no way of knowing. So we checked into this a little bit, and actually this was new to some of us as well. We haven't really used this that much. So, checked in with Minute, and they said that we do actually have an email search option that exists in SSIS via the searches and logs. And so I checked that out this morning and added this screenshot. And sure enough, I wish I would have known this a while ago. But this is really helpful information. So it's really easy to use. So if you click on searches and logs and you click email search, what you'll see is this screen that I'm showing here. And it says you can search by worker name that sent in the email. So where it says worker name and I put my name in there, that's really just means I sent those emails out of SSIS. And so I can search that way. I could leave that blank and I could search by the recipient. So whether it be the recipient address, the whoever was CC'd or BCC'd, email addresses, I could search that way. I could search by subject, or I could leave all those blank, and I tested and this worked as well, as just put in like the date range. If I wanted to say like all the emails sent out of SSIS as of, a particular date, and I could get that as well. So really helpful. It tells you some information, but again, it can't tell you everything, right? It's only going to tell you the things on the SSIS side of things. So if an email gets stuck in the recipient or the law enforcement system somehow, we don't really know that until they respond. So there's not really a way for us to know those. We just can see, yeah, we did send it, but it's still really helpful, I think. So we suggest agencies make heavy use of the read receipt button and enter a really good reply to email, CC yourself, BCC yourself, those types of things, if you're wanting to make sure that you're seeing those. But just looking to see, it looks like we have another question on here. On the police report that was sent, is there any way that you can enter the worker's name on the cover page and back page? I'd have to take a look at that. I haven't looked at that police report in a while and to see what options there are there. I don't know that automatically comes in, but on the email, certainly you can put that on there as the reply to. I'll take a look though, Renee. And then Myra has something to add to the email. When the email sent is too big, there's no notification that it was not sent. It shows as sent, but wasn't due to the size limit. I haven't heard that before. Let's see. She says, is there a notification that can notify the worker the email was not sent due to size? Myra, have you sent that into the help desk? I guess I haven't heard that one before as a problem. Okay. I'll check. I'll follow up with them, Myra. I'm just making a note here to see what that's about. I guess I haven't heard that particular issue before, but I'll follow up and see if I can get some more information. Any other questions specific to emails out of SSIS? You know, I think one of the suggestions, which I know I dealt with back at the county as well when we first got the email, frustration is it doesn't, you know, save automatically, like have all of the addresses that maybe you already have in your email address account at your agency. But of course, SSIS emails are not connected to your specific emails, so it won't have those addresses. But you can, and I think I sent this out in the help desk ticket recently, you can add addresses to that address book within SSIS. So there is a way to go about that. And each time you add them, they'll stay there, and you can export and import from there as well. So I believe there's a job aid, and I'll go see if I can't find that in between other slides here and post that in the chat. Anyone else regarding emails out of SSIS? All right, I think we can move on. And it looks like it's me again. So document template headers. So these questions come in quite often. So a couple of questions came in pertaining to document template headers. One of the questions is about county logo, what is recommended. So really DHS doesn't have a specific county logo recommendation for agencies on what their county logo needs to be. So agencies across the state use a variety of these. Some don't add that to the templates at all, instead using a blank header space in order to print on their own paper, although I think that people are getting more and more away from that. So you can do a variety of things there. The state document templates, another question that came in, and I'm going to go through these. Another one was why there are such large blank spots on so many letters and documents. So I'm not sure which documents, you know, this was, I didn't have all the details on this question about what documents they're specifically talking about. So I think that would be helpful to send that in if you're seeing large blank spots. If you're talking about like a state header, that you're not going to be able to adjust that. The state headers are in there on the state documents, and you won't be able to adjust those. Some of the state headers include room for things like barcodes, and some agencies are using those. So that might be what you're referring to, but I'm not positive. If not, you can also send any specific examples that you want us to take a look at. It's really helpful if we have like an attachment or an example of the specific document and header that you're seeing with the blank spot, if you want to send those into the help desk, if they're not looking, you know, appropriate or how you're expecting. So we got this question from a couple of different people, and any agency is able to give specific examples. I'm just wondering if anybody out there has a specific example that they're also seeing, you know, large blank spots. Anybody want to throw that in chat? And I'm just going to look and see. So I see Lori says most all state documents have large headers, the disposition letters, relative search letters. So those would be things that you can't adjust. And I'll have to take a look, Lori, to see if there's something looks off on them. I haven't heard anything, but I'm going to take a look. Let's see. Anybody else? Let's see. Ashley, are we able to print template drafts so we can see when we are editing if they're going to print appropriately? So you have to activate it. So like if you're talking, Ashley, about like a local document, it sounds like, where you have like a template within the editor that you're creating and you want to see, is it going to print? Really, you're kind of going back and forth. You have to activate it in order to test it out, right? To actually make it so it's going to look. So, you know, you can actually complete it in a work group, you know, print it off or do at least a print preview. And then I would change it back. As long as you're, you know, not saving that, I would go ahead and delete that document so that you can go back to the template editor and change that back to draft. But if you leave that in the work group, your test document, it's not going to let you go back to draft in the template editor. So kind of keep that in mind. I usually try to, when I used to use these, I would make sure that I was naming them something that nobody else in the agency was going to pick up and try to use, to avoid somebody else suddenly grabbing that and putting it in their document and then me not being able to find it or activate it, right? So change it back to draft. So you should be able to do that, but yeah, it takes a little bit of back and forth. And Terry says, we have tried to get our logo in our letterhead several times, but it won't work. Even had help desk help. Is it because of the number of pictures in the logo? I guess I don't recall seeing that myself, Terry. There was an issue for a while, so I'm not sure if that's when you tried, if it was somewhat recently. There was an issue with getting the templates and the headers working for a while, but those, I think they're all resolved. I've been able to make them work recently. So maybe if you want to send that back in, I can take a look and see if I can help you with it. I haven't seen your specific logo, so I'm not sure if that's been an issue or not, but you should be able to. And I'm gonna talk a little bit more about these. Let's go on to the next slide, because I do actually have some more information that I want to share here. So when editing the SSIS document template headers, there are a couple of things to keep in mind. There are 2 spots where headers are created and edited in SSIS. I get a lot of people who send things in and then they're not really sure where they should be. Like they're trying to create a header in either the RTF document template headers or the document template editor headers, which are separate. And so sometimes they're trying to create the wrong header for the wrong document. So you just got to keep in mind there's 2 spots where headers are created and edited in SSIS. And so some document templates pull local agency headers from the RTF document template headers and some from the document template editor headers. So these are separate locations in SSIS and must be updated and created separately as well. So it's important to know which it is that you're actually wanting or needing to create or update for. So some state document templates are going to pull headers from the RTF document template header. Oh gosh, it's such a mouthful. RTF document template headers, and some will still pull from the document template editor headers. And local agency created documents that are created within SSIS will be pulling from the document template editor. So if you're trying to update a header on local agency created documents, you're not going to be able to do that from the RTF document template headers screen, which is what I'm showing right here. Okay. So if the document you need a header updated or changed for is on the RTF document template headers list. So you can see the list right here, which can be found under tools for those that have access to edit and add RTF document headers. Then use the RTF document template header job aid. So that's I looked at over the job aids. These 2 job aids are updated. So this is the RTF document template header, and I posted the link here. And the RTF document template editor job aid can be found on the SSIS worker documentation page under the tools heading. I believe it's like the very first document. And so you can see the list here. So when you pull up the RTF document template headers, you have the whole list of the documents that are affected by these. So you can click on whichever header, or you can add a new header using the job aid, and then you're going to check the boxes for which documents you want that header to be applied to. So these are the only documents that are going to be affected, the ones that you have checked within here. You're not going to be able to, if you add a header here, it's not going to affect any of your local templates that you may have created in the document template editor. Okay. So next screen, thank you. So some tips here that I also pulled out of the job aid. So to reattach existing headers to updated documents, I have some tips there. It's really just selecting the current agency header, which you would have had in the tree view on that last screen, on our last slide, and then check the boxes next to the documents. When a recently updated or reattached header doesn't show on a document being generated in chronology, so if you just updated something and then a worker calls and says, hey, this, it's not pulling, make sure that they are doing the right click on the RTF document tab and selecting remerge document. So if they already had created it, maybe you were in the midst of updating that. Sometimes that happens, I think, when we have a release and you are updating a couple of headers. and workers are at the same time working, of course. So, and the third tip there is once the RTF template header is saved in SSIS, it cannot be deleted. So to update an agency header, follow the same steps on the job aid to add and attach the new header to the RTF document template. So the old ones aren't going to go away. Okay, so don't let that confuse you if you see those. And then if you want to go to the next slide. So here's the document template editor, and this is just how to get there. I didn't go through all of this. We have a whole module with various job aid information in here on using the document template editor. But I did look through this. It was updated just this last year. And in 2022, I think it was like summer of 2022. And that goes through how to create and edit RTF documents, as well as RTF document template headers. So if the existing SSIS document that you want to add or change a local agency header for is not shown on the RTF document template list, the local agency header will need to be created or updated from the document template editor. The document template editor job aid was updated this past year. It goes through how to create, change, attach headers for local agency docs, as well as the state created docs that are not on the RTF document template list. So remember to use the image instructions, which are in a separate section, if you're wanting a picture of your header to be inserted as the header. So just keep that in mind. I think that got a little confusing for some people when they were looking at that, because it goes through the instructions of how to add a header, but then it doesn't specifically talk about the image instructions in that section. So there are how to add the image, which if you have a picture of your header, that's what you're going to want to use along with the header instructions in order to edit that. And that's on page 17 of that module. So I have that link in here as well. Don't forget, anytime that you're planning to import or export something to and from your computer. So if you're trying to pull that picture off of your computer, you're going to want to make sure that your drives have been mapped to in Horizon. So those instructions are also out on that module. So it just has a little reminder about needing to do that. Sometimes people get to that point and then they realize they haven't done this before and haven't actually mapped. So if you're contacting the help desk to request some assistance with headers, be sure that you give specific info such as screenshots of the problem you might be reporting, if that's what you're reporting. Include the name of the document as it shows in SSIS, and if you have it in a work group so we can see an example of the issue. It's really helpful. Like I said, a lot of times people are asking about one type of header, but really what they need is the other type, but I don't know that until I see the document that they're actually trying to attach it to. So be sure to include workgroup number if you have a workgroup example that you're wanting to show us something on. And I think that's it on that. Yep, that's what I have. Thank you.
Thank you, Marcia. This is Shauna, and I'm going to talk about some of the data integrity reports. One of the questions we had that came in kind of based off the data integrity reports are who's cleaning up Maxis errors? So we had this question at the help desk, so I contacted the Maxis help desk supervisor just for some clarification to make sure we're getting the right information out there. What I was informed of is when the Maxis case is closed, anybody that has PMIN access is able to make the corrections to the name, date of birth, social security number, gender. This does not have to be the agency that had the last Maxis case open. So if county or agency B had it, but right now it's in your county, but the case is closed, your PMIN person can make that change. Now, the problem comes into when the Maxis case is open, the agency that has the case has to make the corrections. Now, that's where it can get a little difficult on how that's done. So I kind of just wrote on, does anyone have any suggestion or what works for your agency when corrections are needed in a Maxis case? I know I had given the example when I was in the county, I did a lot of the clearing, and when I find issues in Maxis that were from out of our county, I had a contact in our financial department, a case aide, that I would let know because she had the access to email through their email system to email the worker and get all those details. So I just had to send her an email saying, this Maxis person has the wrong date of birth and it's this county. Can you contact them? And that's how we did it. Again, this was 5 years ago now, so who knows if that's changed, or if anybody else has any suggestions on this, we'd love to hear them if you want to share in the chat. The next slide. How often should data integrity reports be run? Monthly, quarterly? It is recommended to run your data integrity reports monthly. The SSIS help desk, we do get alerts quarterly to any agency that has not run their reports in that quarter, and you will get an email from one of us at the help desk on kind of a reminder of just making sure you're looking and running that report. Looks like Lisa has a question. Can our county Maxis worker correct the child's name spelling then so the SSIS help desk can make the data fix? Now, it depends on if it's an open or closed case, Lisa. If it is a closed case, it's actually not the Maxis worker. There's somebody that has PMID access. How that works in every agency, I'm not sure. In my old agency, we actually accounting people had PMID access. So it was us that had to fix the names and spellings. If it's a currently open Maxis case in your county, then they can make the change. And then you would just need to let us know at the help desk that Maxis was updated. We need this PMI pushed or whatever it is. And then we'll help you with that. Gladys says, is there no date of birth to verify the person on the clearing wrong? Is it okay to clear it as is? Again, this is kind of best practice or how you want to do that. My experience, we cleared if there was no date of birth. There was an estimated date of birth. We tried our best to find it, but sometimes you just don't have that information. And what will happen is if something comes up and they see something later, the data integrity report might catch it if there's a name that is the same. So that might catch it there. Marcia shared with her when I was in my last agency, I had to go contact person for Maxis at my agency, and they would help with those type of issues. Then Reconcile would pick up the change and we would re-clear. Often wouldn't even need a data fix then. Very good point, Marcia. That is very true. Lisa, we have an active kinship folder for a child, but the name is wrong in Maxis. Case is open. That would have to be the agency that has the open Maxis case would need to get that name corrected. And then you would send in a request for a data fix. Because I'm guessing with a kinship folder, the child will be locked down. So we'll have to get the information in a different way. Is there a central director of each county's clearing persons in Minnesota who can correct county data for their county? Not that I know of. Everybody kind of does it differently.
I can jump in on that one. I would usually tell people to contact the SSIS mentors in that agency, and those lists are out and available for all mentors to access. So the mentors should know who does clearing at their agency.
Very good point. Thank you, Marcia. Central directory for Maxis contacts in the state and counties. From what I used to be a financial worker too, so I kind of have a little bit of both sides. I always just used Maxis because all the information is in Maxis on current workers and that kind of stuff. But again, they use SIR email now, so that's where it gets a little bit different. And if you have access to SIR. Gladys is asking, who do we find out who has PMID access? Like I said, everybody does it differently. I've heard agencies do it all different. Like I said, I was in accounting and I had PMID access when I was in the county. So I think it's kind of a county decision on who has those. So I would just ask around, or maybe some of the other mentors would have an idea of who would have that access. If not, maybe an admin person would be good to ask. Is there any other questions anybody can think of? Of course, if they come up later, we'll definitely look at them. All right. Thank you.
Good morning. This is Molly. I'm one of the SSIS fiscal SMEs under the business operations area. Sorry, I'm having an echo on my side. So through the deployment of the package release last Monday, April 3rd, the final QRTP proofing messages were added. And I'll just quickly run through the 3 that were added. So proofing message 1295, timelines for the initial QRTP EPR vary based on the age of the child at the time of placement and whether they remained in the same QRTP placement for the entire review period, a consecutive review period, or spent time in multiple QRTP placements during the same continuous placement during the review period. If the youth was under age 13 at the time of placement, the initial review period is always 6 months or 180 days, whether it is consecutive or a non-consecutive review. If the youth was 13 and older at the time of placement, the initial review period is 12 months or 360 days for a consecutive review and 18 months or 540 days for a non-consecutive review. Days during a youth's QRTP placement while a facility was not certified for QRTP are not counted in the review period. The ability to claim Title IV reimbursement for QRTP placements during the same continuous placement is not recoverable once the EPR is missed or not completed timely. And then proofing message 1283 cannot claim beginning the first of the month in which the subsequent QRTP extended placement review was due, but the EPR does not exist. So timelines for the subsequent QRTP EPR vary based on the age of the child again and on the first day of the subsequent review period and whether they remained in the same QRTP placement for the entire review period or spent time in multiple QRTP placements during the same continuous placement in which the review period was a non-consecutive review. If a youth is under the age of 13 on the first day of the subsequent review period, the review period is always 6 months or 180 days, whether it is consecutive or non-consecutive. If the youth is age 13 or older on the first day of the subsequent review period, the review period is 12 months or 360 days for consecutive review and 18 months or 540 days for non-consecutive reviews. Days during a youth's QRTP placement while a facility was not certified for QRTP are not counted in the review period. If a subsequent EPR is missed, no claiming is allowed beginning the first day of the month month in which the subsequent EPR was due. The ability to claim Title IV reimbursement for QRTP placements during the same continuous placement is not recoverable once the EPR is missed or not completed timely. And then proofing message 1284 cannot claim for days 31 and after a timely QRTP extended placement review denial date for QRTP placement. Agencies may only claim up to 30 days after the QRTP extended placement review denial date for FFPSA, congregate care institutes, or group provider placements where the placement has a potential specialized setting certification of QRTP and the facility is certified and the QRTP extended placement review was completed timely. However, the EPR was denied. And the next item that was updated in the package release is wording was changed to proofing message 1291, and we just added claiming rules to allow QRTP placements that are under 60 days to claim 4E when there is not a QRTP certification for that facility. And then we also implemented the flipping and claimed payment proofing logic. So your agency may see claims that had initially claimed, but now since the package release will flip. And if you have any specific questions about any of those claims that have flipped, please send a ticket to the help desk. Everything is very specific to the child, and there's many situations that could be going on with the kiddo. So we just want to look in detail at it. And then there has been an update to the long message 1232. A rule has been added to allow QRTP placements under 60 days to claim when the facility is not QRTP certified. So that is all I have, and I will send it over to Sam.
Thank you, Molly. And we're going to continue with the SSIS package release. This is Sam again, the other fiscal SME. There is a known defect with proofing message 1288, and this slide explains the workaround. This is the same defect and workaround that was communicated in a recent mentor blast, and this is anticipated to be fixed in the 23.2 release. Again, these changes are complex and they can involve a number of different screens, so we ask that you please submit a ticket to the SSIS help desk with any client-specific questions or if technical assistance is needed when going through these. We can go on to the next slide.
Oh, sorry, this is Molly again. I just wanted to add quick, I forgot to mention in my previous slide, I am working on updating all of the child foster care proofing messages. It's sort of like a cheat sheet to help with the long and short messages and potential fixes. So I'm hoping to have that out in the very near future.
Molly, I think this is you again.
Oh, sorry. All right, so this question is, we have a worker who has the title of assistant social worker as she is working on getting her license. This person does have a 4-year social work degree and has been working with adults with disabilities for 1 year. Does anyone have any guidance on setting up claim qualifications for assistant social workers for healthcare claiming waiver and TCM? So per the provider manual, there are minimum standards that case managers need to meet in order to claim waiver and TCM, and those vary based on, CW, mental health, or waiver AC claiming. And I did add the link to the VADD claiming, and it's up to the county board to establish a policy or procedure that follows the minimum guidelines from the provider manual. So you'll want to follow the minimum qualifications and then implement your own policy for staff to be able to qualify for TCM and healthcare claiming.
All right,
And I
and
think
now I think we have one question that Summer Day, I think that this is your question this morning.
It is. Sorry, I was trying to get my camera on and it just delayed for some reason.
Hey,
Good
no
morning,
worries.
everyone. Good morning, everyone. My name is Summer Day Rosette. I work with or as the ICWA training coordinator. And I was asked to come in as a panelist with the SSIS BizOps team. So we looked like we got a question from an agency who's fine-tuning their MIFPA workflow and just kind of asking how other agencies complete the following. The first part of the question where it asks about documenting and or archiving MIFPA notices and genograms and SSIS. And then the second part is just a quick snapshot of what their current practice is. So I'm going to do a couple of things. In the chat, I will share some resources, but I did want to go through each of these bullets. Some of them actually provide a response or, kind of tie into the same response. So let's just start at the beginning. So it asks for how other agencies are doing the following. Do you use the MIFPA notification and genogram documents found in SSIS to fill out and then send to Tribal Child Welfare Agency contact? And the follow-up to that is if you do not use the document template in SSIS for your primary notice, do you fill out the SSIS templates in addition to the notices that you sent separately? So, because it can vary among from agency to agency, if an agency does complete the document in SSIS or those two documents in SSIS, they have the ability to send that to the tribal contact. You can send through SSIS, you can send an email. And if your agency has it set up as through fax, you can do that as well. But it's a matter of preference for each agency and how that works for them. Some agencies will actually use the forms on eDocs even because it's more of for convenience. More than likely, it's the private adoption agencies who utilize the forms on eDocs because they don't have access to SSIS. But some agencies do it as well and just log that as an attachment in chronology. But the second part of the question is if you do not use the document template in SSIS for your primary notice, do you need to fill out the SSIS templates in addition to the notices you sent separately? And the answer to that is no, as long as you log it in, as long as you upload that as an attachment. The other part is if you do not use the document template, oh, there we go. Yes, you do have to update those notices and genogram in the attached under chronology in the attachment folder. The other question we have here, or something I wanted to just point out really quick, well, actually, this is part of the workflow. So right here where it talks about the agency's workflow and their overall process, just a couple of reminders. So it looks like this agency creates the work group in SSIS as they should, ensures the correct or updated family information is in the work group. And then the social worker notifies the case aide that a MIFPA notice and genogram are needed for a client's new work group. And that all sounds, so the only thing that I would say is that just to make sure that information is getting out within the 24-hour notice requirement, depending on the notice that's being sent. So remember, if it's a screened in FA or FI, family assessment or family investigation, that notice must go out within 24 hours, followed by email and or fax. And that MIFPA notice is an immediate notice when an agency has information that a child protection assessment or investigation is being conducted, may involve an Indian child. And you should notify the Indian child's tribe, if known, within 24 hours from when the agency first screens in that FA or FI. Involving tribes to be part of the assessment and or investigation is an important part and component of what we consider active efforts. So I'm going to put a couple of a couple of links in chat. It's some of the things we use in the American Indian Wellbeing Unit, formerly known as the ICWA unit, just to share information with agencies. The first one that I'm going to put in chat is the ICWA MIFPA Desk Aid. The second is the caseworker checklist. and the notice of child placement proceedings, as well as our ICWA manual updated 2022. I hope this comes in. There we go. The one thing I will share about the ICWA notice of child placement proceedings, because the last question is, could we also discuss when to send a copy of notifications to BIA and what is required to be logged into SSIS? So when we're talking about notifications to the BIA, the first is when there's the ICWA notice of child placement proceedings, and in SSIS, it's under it's the child placement proceedings notification in the ICWA eligibility tabs under the ICWA folder. So when you're logging information into SSIS in that section, when you're I see a question. Thank you, Sonia. I'll get to that question here. Here, let me just finish up here with the question about notification to the BIA. So the BIA is required to be notified under two or the first time they need to be notified is when there's the child placement proceedings. That notice will need to go, a copy of what you submitted to the parent or parents, the ICWA, or excuse me, Indian custodian, and the tribe. A copy of what you sent to those individuals needs to be sent by certified or registered mail with a return receipt to the BIA regional office. Now, when you're talking about what is required to be logged into SSIS, under the notice, or excuse me, under the ICWA notice of placement proceedings, there's an option there that just as you do for the parents, Indian custodian, and the tribe, there's an option at the bottom, or there's an option for you to select whether you notified BIA as well or sent a copy of the notice to BIA. And the date that you did that, as well as the second question that it asks is, did you, in the notice that you, or excuse me, did you send a notice to the BIA to request assistance in locating either an unknown parent or locating, the address of an unknown parent as well? So there should be a second notice to the BIA if there is reason to know the child is Native American, but the identity, or location of the parent or parents' tribe cannot be ascertained. This is something that we're seeing in the reviews right now. Our unit is completing. Our unit is, sorry, I keep trying to read questions. Our unit is completing reviews right now for 2022. We're noticing that we're seeing the ICWA notice of child placement proceedings when they're trying to locate or identify a specific tribe or locate a parent. We're seeing that agencies are utilizing that and are not utilizing it enough, really. What we're seeing is when agencies can't identify, a parent, they're sending out the ICWA notice, the child placement proceedings to, to addresses or that they've had for the one parent or another, and not able to, they're not receiving the actual what we call the green card, or just notice that the ICWA notice was received by the parent. And what's happening is the envelopes that, the green cards that are coming back unsigned, saying, unable to locate, those are actually being uploaded in MGA. And there's several that'll get uploaded for a single case. But really what should happen is if the agency is unable to, is not able to locate a parent or unable to identify a tribe, they would want to be using the ICWA notice of child placement proceedings. It's on the third page. Would I be able to share my screen so I can share the document that, and on the section of that notice where folks would want to highlight. Would that be okay?
I think you could share your screen, and we can also update our material summer, and with, you know, with those things, if that works as well, for, you know, just update our PowerPoint with any of those
Oh, okay.
screenshots you wanted, if that's okay.
Yeah. I put everything in chat too. So if folks want to go to the ICWA notice of child placement proceedings at a later time, what they want to do is go to page 3. And page 3 of that notice has the attachment section. And this is where if you're trying to locate or requesting assistance from the BIA to identify unknown tribal affiliation or unknown parent's identity and or address, you would want to make sure you check that box on page 3 of the printable form on eDocs. And then what you could do, thank you, what you could do is if you're needing assistance in identifying, like I said, an unknown tribe, you would use the ICWA notice of child placement proceedings for that. And the information, just to kind of circle back to this last question about notification to the BIA, where it's required to be logged into SSIS. I think I shared that it was required under the ICWA folder. There's a notice section for logging in your notice to your ICWA notices of child placement proceedings to the parents, the any custodian, the tribe, and it asks a question of whether or not you sent a copy of those specific notices to the BIA. But the process that you have here, the workflow, that's, I mean, if that meets the requirements, you know, your agency, if that's the current practice and it's working for your agency, I don't see any problem with with your overall process. So we did get a couple of questions. So the question from Sonia is, does the notice need to go when it's a truancy court case? I'm assuming you're referring to the MIFPA notice. And for truancy, yes, you do have to send a MIFPA notice to any known tribe. Just the MIFPA notice, not the ICWA notice. So when we think about MIFPA and ICWA, if you think, okay, MIFPA is what's the state requirement. ICWA is what we, just to, you know, create some identity between the two or some separation, I guess. But MIFPA notice is the state requirement. ICWA notice is the federal. Oh, sorry. Hi, Terry. What is the status of getting the genogram under each child, like the social medical histories, as they contain a lot of information? And if more information is found, can be updated. Or if the case closes and reopen. I know the genogram does not have to be restarted. I completely understand that question. So you can also submit an enhancement request. I know there's already an enhancement request in there for this, so that the genogram can follow the child. I don't know the status of that. I can find out the status and report back to SSIS BizOps. They actually probably would have access to it. They have access to it just as I do, but maybe they can unmute and share any information about the enhancement requests. I think.
Yeah. This is Cynthia Summer. I would just add, like, yes, we have many requests related to this, and right now there's no release or anything set for that work. As folks are aware, like we just have pretty significant resource issues, and with our focus on some of these required federal things, that has been a barrier to that. So absolutely, we have those several enhancements related to specifically the genogram, but also ICWA. Some things, unfortunately, we can't do that agencies have asked for, just because it wouldn't meet the there are either federal or state requirements that like prevent us from doing those things, which for those enhancements, folks, that should have been communicated out to whoever made those specific requests. But otherwise, they're still aware. We're still aware of those things, and they're in the queue, but we don't have a release date for any of those at this point.
Thanks, Cynthia. Just one other thing that I wanted to mention before we move on to the next slide. There is, so because our unit is doing our reviews, we also have options for the technical assistance training that some of the members of our team, the compliance team for the American Indian Wellbeing Unit provides, but as an additional training that can be offered is the Equitabs training. So I'll put the email in chat, or I did, but I just wanted to also include for agencies that are interested in receiving training on the Equitabs. I'm going to put that in chat as well. So you can just email the American Indian Wellbeing Unit and request that training for our agencies interested. Thank you.
Summer Day, there's one more question too. Are active effort screens required during a CP assessment?
Our active efforts. Oh, sorry. I'm sorry, Sarah. Required during CP assessment. So active efforts are required as long as, so I might need your help with this one, Erica, because it was part of the.
Yep. So I believe that as long as the agency is providing at least 30 days of services in
Yes,
a
that's
quarter,
what it was.
yep, then active effort screens do need to be completed.
I was going to say 29 days or less, then no, it wouldn't be a requirement in SSIS. It wouldn't trigger the active efforts requirement. But if it's 30 days or more, then yes, active efforts would be required. And what it means is that they're providing services, like Erica said. Sorry about that, Sarah. All right, thank you.
Thanks, Summer Day.
That was great. Thanks, Summer Day. So another question that we have, case aids and SSIS. So the question came in, how does a case aid create work groups, fill in the relationship tabs, race and name tab, etc., if social workers or case managers are the ones contacting and meeting with the clients? So really, our answer is the best practice is the person that has or knows the information should be entering that into SSIS. That said, different agencies do that differently, right? What works best in their agency may not work best at another agency. So, I really thought, let's throw this one back out there to our agency and tribal partners and just ask, is anyone currently that's out there have case aids that do the creating of their work groups, may be responsible for filling in things like relationship info, race info, name info, etc. And if a case aid is entering the work group and related person info, how do they get that information from the worker? Are they gathering that verbally from the case manager? Do you use a form at your agency? Are they getting the info directly from the clients? Anybody want to weigh in on that? And I'm not sure which agency this came from, so I can't ask them to speak up. But anybody else, anybody having case aids do that work? Pretty sure there's a few of you out there. Right, I'm not seeing anything.
One person did respond, Marcia. Tracy Emily said case aids enter our agency. They have a form that intake sends over in Carver County.
Thank you. Thanks, Tracy. That's helpful.
And then Sandy Johnson, I'm not sure which county she's from, said they do not have case aids do this. And Ashley also said we have the workers fill out a few different demographic forms and they turn them into the case aid. In Polk County, case aids open the work groups. The case manager gives her the social service application and she goes off of that and or talks to the case manager. And Sandy was from McLeod County. Ooh, we have a lot. We have a lot coming
Yeah,
in.
I love it.
Freeborn has the intake lead workers enter the work groups.
Okay.
Lori from Pine County, we have case aides and workers. We'll verbally tell them or we will find out the information ourselves. Jessica Summers is a case aide at Wright County. She enters the intake work groups for ed neglect, and she gets the info from the referrals that are sent to them from the schools. And that is all we
Lori,
have.
you mentioned, or we will find out the information ourselves. How would you do that? Would you actually go to the clients and contact them for information, or how would you go about gathering that information? Can you give us a little more detail? I think that's what they're looking for, is like, how does that work? Nice to have some other ideas out there. And Teresa, I see. Case aid opens the work group and enters race by looking client up in Maxis, okay, and clears the client if necessary, can also review the application if filed. Remaining information is completed by case managers. Great. So it looks like really a lot of agencies are doing this differently. And like I said, it's what works best at your agency based on how you guys are structured, right? You want to make sure that you're not just adding people in the middle for no reason. So, you know, if it makes more sense to have somebody, that's one thing, but really I would always be making sure that you're talking within your agency as, does that save time, or are we just adding a middleman too? So, and I think that's really why we always have best practices. Whoever knows the information should be entering it, but maybe there's some barriers to that. And Terry, thank you. So intake workers open work groups with the exception of educational neglect. Case aides open these. Oh, there I see Lori too. I do some research on past intakes, work groups, and Maxis, MGA, or other programs. So other things that you might have access and you can look up. Okay. And Tracy says, personally, when I'm missing information on the form, I verify the info in MMIS. So it sounds like a lot of people have different access to different systems as well. That might help. Great. So I'm not sure the agency that put in this particular question, but hopefully that helps give you a little bit more information and ideas of what others are doing out there. So a whole lot of different areas are doing things a little different on what works best for them. So that's something that your agency would want to really discuss and look at what makes the most sense for our agency and how are we going to make sure that we're not adding additional work, right? And I think that's all I have on that one. If you want to go on to the next one, Cynthia.
All right, good morning. The next one is me. So the question that came up, this is Erica. What are other counties' processes for transferring a child maltreatment report back to the originating county? So of course, child maltreatment reports that are sent through the CMR transfer to another agency in error are not able to be bounced back to the originating agency through the transfer process. On this slide here, you will see a link to the child maltreatment report transferred process job aid. And as indicated in the job aid, the originating agency can reopen the closed intake that they had originally sent over through the transfer process and override the previous screening decisions if necessary. And the agency that received the intake in error can then close the intake by noting other jurisdiction under screening decision in allegation detail. So that's really what we would recommend doing, but we're just also wanted to throw this back out there to the other agencies to see if they have a different process that works for sending back the originating CMR to the CMR report to the originating county. If they, you know, if you do follow this process of having the originating county reopen and override, and then the agency that received it close the intake by noting other jurisdiction, if that's what you do, you can make note of it in the chat also. But if you do something else, we'd love to hear about it. Otherwise, that is all I have for this slide.
Right, it looks like it's back to me. So this question just came in. It says, whom in your county does clearing? So I just threw a screenshot of the clearing log up here. So this is again really going to be agency specific, based on probably a lot of different factors at your agency. So the size of your agency, various worker responsibilities at your agency, and even, history probably all play a part. So at the last agency I was in, just as an example, which was a medium large agency, we had multiple persons doing clearing through, some only did clearing in certain circumstances. All were required to have some training with me. I was the SSIS coordinator at that time, before being given that access. And we only had one primary person though that checked like a couple of times a day the clearing log. And then I would take care of things that the primary person or others were not sure of. So maybe if it needed a little bit more investigating, before doing a merge or something like that. And we had at least one APS worker, ever since the MARC, centralized, one APS worker intake person, that, and one CP support staff person and one fiscal worker. We try to have all of them also involved. So there's always some backup people for various areas. And they all took some part in the clearing, but maybe not the primary. So this is another one, just kind of looking for who at other agencies is doing that. Do you have a group of people who do clearing? Do you have specific people, and maybe what are their roles? If anybody wants to chime in for that. Are they caseworkers, support staff, mentors and coordinators? We'll let people chime in. We'll give you a minute. Anyone have a really good and timely process worked out at their agency that's working really well and want to share? So Sarah says, oh, now I see a bunch coming in. They're coming in fast. So Terry says, case aid in each department, CP, adult services, mental health. Cindy says, we have one worker, fiscal mentor. Sarah says, mentors, case aides, and supervisors. Oh, wow, you guys have a lot. Okay, and Judy says they have mentors doing the clearing. They're split alphabetically. Okay. Cheryl says our intake worker does all the clearing. This helps a lot, and that's just the one person. Joy says I'm SSIS mentor at Freeburn, and I do the clearing. In my absence, my supervisor or the other mentor will handle anything that comes up and is needed right away. Ashley says SSIS coordinator or case aide, fiscal mentor, supervisor. Tana says case aide, who's also the mentor. Annie, I'm from SSIS mentor and case aide. I verify PMI and identities in Maxis and MMIS so that we are ready to go when cleared to county. Kelly says, I'm in Prairie, about 150 SSIS users. We have 2 staff members who primarily clear. Both are SSIS mentors. There are a couple people who can back up if needed. And that's really helpful to know, like the size, how many SSIS users. Thanks. Thanks, Kelly. So let's see, Jeremy, hopefully I'm saying that right. For Polk, each worker does their own clearing. Oh, that's interesting. Most people who need clearing come through intake, so intake workers end up with most of them. And Teresa says, one worker, which is me. I do have one supervisor who is my backup. I review it throughout the day. Great. Thanks for sharing, everyone. I think that's really helpful. So whoever sent this particular question in, yeah, so it's really, again, this is a county specific or county and tribal, I should say, specific thing. Agencies kind of have to decide what works best for them. If you're a small agency, maybe one person works really well. If you're a larger agency, you might need somebody, you might need like a team of people who kind of are doing this. So it really depends on what your needs are as well. I see a few more. Clay County fiscal worker does all clearing. Teresa says, I do the clearing in Swift County. I'm the mentor. It's a smaller county, backup mentor in my absence. Shauna says, in my previous county, there was 2 primary people in the fiscal area that did the clearing. The reason it worked best for us to clear was because we had access to Maxis, MMIS, Prism. Sure, that makes sense. Great. Thanks, everyone. I think that's helpful. It's nice to hear what others are doing. There's a lot of different ways that people are going about ensuring clearing is done, and it has to be done timely, right, for a lot of reasons. So that's great. All right, I think we can move on. Thanks.
All right, thanks everybody. So we really appreciate everybody kind of pitching in and hope that folks who maybe are from other agencies that might be kind of similar, we'd encourage you guys to reach out, especially about those kinds of things for what's working well and kind of work through, maybe any, get any great tips from other agencies where they have a system that's working well for them. So we wanted to introduce ourselves to you guys. We feel like we know you all, but we also realize that we're a relatively new team, and really would like to have you guys just kind of know who we are and what we do in our business operations team. And we're part of the business SSIS business section here at DHS, and we are within child safety and permanency division. And so I'm Cynthia. I'm the supervisor of all of the wonderful people that are on today. And within our unit, we have 3 folks right now that are on our help desk. Shauna, who is our lead worker, and Stacy and Cassie. All of them come with many years of experience as in their local agencies, and really they have several different functions. One, they're kind of the first point of contact for everything, whether it's an agency changing over their accounting system or technical issues. Really, they have a very, very broad role, and to respond, get back to you guys, and also internally looking at all of those things that come in. And really, they have expertise in knowing where everything should go. If there's something that is maybe a data breach issue, they're sending that to me right away. If there's something that's a very clearly MIFPA policy thing, they're going to send it over to our Indian child welfare team. And they're also in constant contact with our technical partners on the Minute side. You guys are pretty familiar with Dave and Janelle, and we also have a whole other team of Minute technical folks. And they're also doing some other things. We administer access to state users of SSIS and several of those other kinds of things that are just on the state side. And so that's Shauna, Stacy, and Cassie. Thank you guys. Marsha, she has moved into a different position and is transitioning. This is a new position. She's our SSIS change and engagement consultant. And so this is a new role that is really, as her title says, really focused on managing all of our change initiatives, whether they're enhancements that we get from our local agency partners, or if they are things maybe coming from the adolescent services team or any other business or policy area, as well as engagement. And so that would be engagement with our local agencies as well as with our state partners, adult protection, behavioral services, developmental disability services, those kinds of things. And so her role will really be to manage that change and work with our partners on really everything related to changes with the system. Erica, right now, she is our lone SSIS worker subject matter expert. And in this role, really, Erica is tasked with being an expert on all of our child welfare policy and ensuring that it is operationalized and functions correctly in SSIS, providing a lot of support, technical assistance to local agency users, and also working very closely with our policy partners for issues related to anything in the system for their particular policy area. So she's working on things such as placement issues, out-of-home placement plan issues, ICWA MIFPA items that come in, all of that kind of work. Sam and Molly are our SSIS fiscal subject matter experts, and very similar to Erica, except they are really tasked with knowing everything fiscal and all of the policy related to that, as well as the functionality. And they're also work very closely with everyone in our unit, the policy folks, as well as our financial operations people here at the state. And we are also going to be having a new team member starting at the end of the month, Tracy. She is joining us as a temporary fiscal SME, and she's going to be really focused on family first prevention and specifically all of the fiscal functionality for that work. So we're really excited to have her join us at the end of the month. And I see there's a couple other questions. Is there anything else that folks want to bring up from the questions that we've had? All right. So I know we've had some more questions. If you do have any questions or need to get in touch with us, please reach out to the help desk. We do have all of our previous Coffee Talk webinars posted at the Child Welfare Training Academy, and we also have links to our worker and fiscal documentation as well. Our next Coffee Talk is going to be on May 23rd, and this is related to our statewide release that will be happening. And we really encourage folks, if you haven't piloted, reach out, give it a try. We will be actively also getting in touch with agencies that either, have expressed some interest in the past or that we think would be a really good fit for the information that's in here. And again, it really should not be if you have any questions or concerns about doing it, that's okay. But we appreciate everybody doing it and look forward to really working with counties. And part of the pilot as well is that we're always happy to come out to agencies in person and include people from any program area that you might have particular questions or needs for as well. So just to make another pitch for that. And Mentor of the Month. So we want to recognize our St. Louis County fiscal team this month. And Marcia, I don't know if you want to give a quick mention, share some nice words.
Sure, I can do that. Well, we want to celebrate St. Louis County fiscal team who stepped up when we asked them to pilot our special package release that just got released statewide. We originally had asked them back in 21.4, and even when that was delayed until 23.1, they were willing to step up on fairly short notice and help with that. So we always appreciate that. The willingness of their fiscal team, including Pat Nelson, Jane Horton, and their coordinator, Darren Carlson, to coordinate in advance and work with us for a short package release pilot, along with their attention to detail, was really instrumental in finding a couple of previously unknown defects that we were able to identify, research, and fix in that short amount of time before it was released statewide. So that's the importance of piloting. We need people to pilot for exactly that type of thing. It really saves everybody in the long run. So thank you so much. That was great.
All right. Thank you, Marcia. Thanks, everybody. That ends our coffee talk this morning. If you need anything, please feel free to reach out to the help desk and have a wonderful day, everybody.